Thank you for joining us. This is Live with Miami's Community News, and I'm Michael Bonó. Our special guest today is Nelson Bonó from AtWork Doral. Thank you for being here, Nelson.
Thank you very much, Mike, for the invitation. Happy New Year. Happy 2025.
And you've been around this arena, this production and creation of shows and TV type stuff for many, many years. We're going to get to AtWork Doral in a few minutes.
Okay.
But I think the background is important.
Well, the background is my education was in broadcasting, is in broadcasting. My experience has been for the past almost 30 years in broadcasting, Puerto Rico, here in Miami. I used to work for Telemundo, for America TV Network here in Miami, also with Univision, the sport division, as a director of promotions, basically in the area of creative services. And I kind of gravitated this area for many, many, many years. After leaving Univision, I decided to, with my wife, I'm business partner, she's into the human resources field. We needed to look for a new venture, and we kind of agreed that to look for a business that can not be broadcasting related, but we can talk about it. She can talk about HR, and I can talk about management people. I was a director. I was managing group, and we found this business opportunity with AtWork, and we decided to jump in their ship and establish an office here in Doral.
So tell us about AtWork and why it's sweeping the country.
They're growing fast. They have over 100 offices all over the nation.
So it's a franchise.
It's a franchise. It's locally owned. I own the right for the South Miami area, Doral, Hialeah, Miami Lakes, Fontainebleau, all this area. And but they are also in Fort Lauderdale. They're in Panama City. They're in Orlando. They're in Jacksonville. They're growing very fast in Florida, but all the South and also in the West, California, and also they're growing very fast. So
AtWork Doral is a agency that who is your customer?
My customer is people that is looking for a job and clients that need people to fulfill their. So
you have both. You have the end consumer, the person looking for a job, and then you have the employer.
Yeah, this is a staffing company, personal staffing companies, and we help people find their next job, mostly temporary, and obviously, and also companies that they're in needs of people to work season based or permanently. We'll find them their perfect match.
It's pretty amazing. My brother and I are micromanagers. And so often I say, I'm not going to talk to one more applicant that I should have already been gone through them before it got to me. So that's what you do. You go through somebody's resume, and so you know when an employer calls, you can say, here are the traits, the good parts for this person. And tell us how that works, how you make sure that when you recommend a prospect that the employer is getting what they're looking for.
Well, we'll talk to the client, and we try to make an assessment of what they're looking for. Obviously, we try to pick up what we think are the traits and what they're looking in a specific position. And then we go to the field and try to find that person to fulfill that position that is needed, and we try to match them. Once we kind of put them together, we'll have to make sure that they work together for the contract period and also for the renewal. So that's our business.
And so often it is the culture of the business that makes the difference, because somebody could actually perform the duty, but if they don't fit into the culture that's there, it's a problem for everybody.
Yes, you'll find. I've talked in the past few months. I've talked with dozens of candidates. I've been surprised what they're looking for in the job market. Some of them, they just want to work temporary jobs. But they kind of gravitate from warehouses to offices to shopping malls to security. And it's crazy the amount of opportunities that are out there for them. But sometimes they don't match with the client because they don't know how to handle the pressure of, for example, a warehouse, flower distributors and logistics, and they say I prefer better doing security or doing this or doing that, and you kind of listen, but it's a job. It's a two-week job, good pay, and then we can move to a next one. No, and they kind of pick and choose whatever they want, or the time that they need a job.
So when you're interviewing a job applicant, When as you talk to them, you realize that some people want to be led, and other people want to be leaders, and other people are more passive, other people more aggressive. How do you match up their traits with what the company wants, even if it is on a part-time basis?
Well, the hiring manager is a very important key factor in this, because if you're dealing with a very, for example, very strict manager that that is very detail oriented, that they want perfection, you need to look for a candidate that kind of reflect that kind of traits. And when they go and get that job, they kind of follow specifically the instruction and do what is expected from them on the tailored direction, because not all the candidates are equal. Not all the candidates give you what the employer needs, and you need to make sure that they kind of click together in order for the relationship and the business to work. So
what do employers tell you? If they don't want the particular applicant, what are some of the things they tell you right off the bat, what they didn't or did like about them?
Mostly what they need is commitment. Because when you're temporary, you kind of deal with candidates that you say, hey, tomorrow you have to be at this office or this warehouse at 8 a.m. Sometimes they don't show up. So because they found another job that pays them $1 more, or 50 cents, that makes a difference for that kind of job that they look for. So we need to make sure that the candidate have commitment, that they're willing to perform with their specific tasks that we described that they need to do, and also that they can excel.
So what is it about AtWork that is causing it to grow so quickly and so with such strength?
The connection that we make with clients and the connection that we make with candidates. We try to make them feel that they're dealing with a locally owned office, and the system that we have in order to identify candidates and potential client or vice versa is very simple. And we're very straightforward, and we don't play with people expectation. It's just a matter of tell you the truth, give you the opportunity, and prepare you to be your best when you jump into a position or a job that you really need. Most of the candidates are in the market because they need to work. And they come from maybe other jobs that they spend years.
And these are all you're looking for part-time people?
And full-time people.
And full-time.
And full-time people. We do temporary hire, and with direct hire, executive hire, we do also do. So basically, it's a la carte. What we offer to a client, and whatever they need, we try to accommodate and try to find that special talent.
So often applicants, especially if they are not working, are a little nervous and maybe they're a little rusty. Do you meet with them and coach them and share with them, here's some of the things you need to be able to do, how you should act, what you should dress, how you talk to them, what time you should be there?
You said it perfectly. We meet them. We try to make an evaluation and assessment of the candidate. We try to identify their strengths and weakness, and also we coach them into, for example, resume or the way they dress, the way they communicate, because we prepare them for the client and for them to gain the confidence to be in front of the potential employer. Because most of them, they come very with fatigue from other jobs, or they're not well prepared and they don't know how to communicate. And we try to polish them and give them the confidence to stand in front of the potential employer for them to excel and get a permanent job. That's the final. That's the ultimate goal.
So for somebody that is temporary, you say it's a 2-week assignment. They may be going to different places for the employer, or maybe it's at one location. Frequently, does the employer say, "Hey, I like this person. We'd like to keep them on a little bit longer"?
Yes, they renew the contract, and maybe they can convert them into full-time employees. So we do the business to trespass the employee from our office, because they work for AtWork, not for the client.
Yep.
And then we change the job to a permanent with the employer. We transition that employee.
And certainly it's comfortable for the employer to say, I don't have to make a long-term commitment here. No hard feelings. It's a 2-week assignment. And if we like them, we're going to ask them to stay.
Yeah, it's kind of it kind of it's the perfect situation because you kind of have the time to learn who your employee or potential employee is. You see how it works. So the risk is limited on their end. And once you decide that this is the perfect match, they can say, hey, I want to keep you or renew you for a year or so.
So speaking in generalities, if you have a employee who's on time, they do all that stuff, and they get along great, and the job's not perfect, right? But they're doing pretty good. Versus the job that's perfect, but the guy's always late, and he's nasty, and he doesn't get along. And you find that out. What is your conversation with each of those people about what they're doing at that employer?
Well, sometimes we get for example, from the candidate that they cannot handle the pressure of the supervisor, immediate supervisor or so, and that's a red flag because I need to go to a supervisor and say, hey, how we doing with the candidates, and they're gonna give us the feedback. No, the candidate is not to the level that I was expecting, or so. I'm keeping him because he's being responsible, coming every single day and doing the task, but not at the level I expected. So I say, hey, let me work with the candidate. Go back to a candidate. Let me work with him to see if we can elevate the game. And if not, we'll do a replacement. We'll find another candidate that match the client criteria. But if the supervisor is too hard to handle, sometimes it's just a matter of him letting us if we're if we can provide them more candidates. We have that challenge. So.
And we know that if a prospective employee walks into an employer's office, we all know they're nervous and maybe scared, but for sure they're a little bit nervous. How do you coach them about how to deal with their nervousness?
It's for them to, the candidate has to understand what they're going to be doing. If they don't know what they're doing, obviously, by the time they stand in front of their supervisor, they're going to get nervous and they're going to make a lot of mistakes. You have to be patient with them because if they're learning something that they haven't done before or just related to, you have to give them some time in order to perform very fast. Maybe you have an employer that say, hey, I need somebody with experience in this that can ramp up just by the time they land here, and I don't have time for a learning curve or so.
Yeah.
You need to find that candidate. But if you have a candidate that the supervisor is willing to give a little bit for a learning curve to perform, is even easier.
So 2019, business is going along pretty well. December 2019, there's something going on in California. All right, January 2020, they've got some cold thing. They're calling it monkey disease or China disease or COVID. So that was January, February, and all of a sudden March 2020. All right, it's 5 years now, right? Almost. All right?
Yeah.
The way people work changed, and the number of people that were working changed. And so people got used to not working, getting paid from the government, or working at home. From what I read, a lot of the big employers say, you need to come back, all right? So, because there's an advantage of people working together. So when somebody goes to you and they say, I'm looking for a job, but I only want to go into the office 1 or 2 days a week. What's that? And the employer says, listen, we need somebody 5 days. What's that conversation like?
Well, I wasn't in business, the staffing business back then, and then 2020 when the pandemic appeared. But I was part of the Univision working there, and I transitioned from be in person to be remote. Everybody was remote back then, and it was a very shock for me to be working from home. And then time passed by, and we're still working from home, and then we transitioned to go back little by little to the office. Now with this office that I have in AtWork, most of the jobs that I have for people, most of the opportunity that I find has to be in person because warehouses, they have to perform. And some of them can we work from home? No, we cannot work from home. This is not the job for you. If you need to work because you have a special situation or a consideration in order for you to take this job, maybe this is not the perfect opportunity right now. Once we get a job or something that might allow you to stay at home 1 or 2 days, but we always every time we ask, can we work from home? Can we do this? Can we do that? Say right now.
That's all the time.
Yeah, most of the time, yes. Just
Well, in a couple of years, I hope neither one of us will have to answer this question. No, come to the box over here in South Miami.
yeah, and the working hours and their shift and everything, and is all. I think it's all messed up in terms of what people expect and what the market is changing to. As you mentioned, they're asking people to go back to the office. They're asking people to commute. They're asking people to go and have a teammate next to them, and it's like you feel like you're giving first steps in the industry. It's like, oh, who are you? Let me talk to you. Oh, what I talk to you about you. Oh, and then social media, and then whatever I have in front to perform. It's kind of crazy, but I think it's for good. I'm for going back to the office. So I have employees, and they ask me, hey, can I work from home? Say, I'm here. So I better talk to a person next to me than by phone.
There are certain dynamics that happen when there's a think tank, whether it's just over lunch or whether it's at the water fountain, dynamics that occur in the funniest moments about when people are together. Because when it's separated, we were open during the pandemic, and we had a glass between us, all right?
Okay.
When we're doing podcasts. And then everybody here had essentially shower curtains. And they go, well, is that enough? I said, I don't know. When you go to the grocery store, they have the thing right here, but over here, there's nothing here. We had no COVID for 2 years. And then the variant came, bingo. And now it's changed us here. When people are together here and they're happy, all right, and they're communicating with the other, I go, thank goodness. Because I remember as we both do, 5 years ago, where people weren't here and they were at home and going through, they got off of depression, the people were there and be with their spouses 24/7 and the kids and all that. So certainly that is shifted. Let's look at your type of work that's through agencies, all different types throughout the country. What is it the employers find attractive about calling an agency and say, this is what I'm looking for, and that they're willing to pay plenty of dollars to be able to do that?
But they have to pay a premium to get the employee that they need. What they get from businesses like a staffing company is that they don't have to search, they don't have to hunt for that specific position, and while they concentrate in other parts of the business, because this is time consuming. Looking for somebody is posting the job, knocking doors, making calls, doing interviews.
And you do background checks on all the applicants.
Everything, background checks and everything. And once we find a pool of candidates, 2, 3, 4, 5, and from there it's like a contest. It's like hey, we have this 2, 3 candidates here, which one you want to interview, which one you feel that we recommend this, and they make the decision. Sometimes they don't make the decision. You have to go back to a drawing board and change and trying to find more candidates and change the approach in order to get the specific person that they need or the skill that they need.
So some companies would do that themselves, which is very time consuming, but in this case, they call you up and they go, listen, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, we'll go do that stuff. We'll review the applicants. By the time they get to you, all right, we're pretty sure they're qualified, and you can take a look at the last 2, 3, or 4, or 5 rather than looking at 50.
Yeah, we make sure that we find the perfect match for them, and they can feel, we have to make them feel that we have done the best for them. So in order for them to pick up the best candidate that they need. So once we create this trust, and once they see the service that we give, they continue to repeating the business with the office.
And are there certain trends that are going on in the staffing business that we as employers should be aware of?
Trends per se, I haven't seen since the office is new. I haven't seen something that it was all then new, then old, and vice versa. But the trend is the commitment from, if I were to tell you something, what I've seen in the business that we have done and people we have interviewed is the commitment to stick to a specific job. People are not afraid anymore to jump from ships. It's something like, I don't like it, I can find something tomorrow, And if I don't find something tomorrow, I'm not gonna die. Back in my days, if I remember, I cannot quit. I don't think I'll be alive tomorrow. And I was afraid, and maybe I miss a bunch of opportunities. But now, no.
We know that on the graduate level and doctorate level, that typically people go and they get a couple of years experience. Adios. All right. They go to the next one. And the employers also do that. All right. We see it at the time that the schools are graduating the students on the graduate level. Okay, we're going to hire 100 of them. And the last 100 from last year, they keep 2 and they bring in the new ones. So we see that, that frequently. But I think you're absolutely right. And in today's environment, because we hear so many ways that people can make money without being in some office building, including the hopes and dreams of everybody on social media. And maybe sometimes with social media, if they're doing things, maybe it's just enough money so they're not scared anymore like they were before. And we see that because I'm going to go try to do things. I say, I hope you can do that. And we see that you're right. They're not as afraid as they used to be because their friends don't have to go to work for somebody for 10 years or 20 and get their watch and their thank you very much and their pen and have a nice life. So that certainly is a trend that you're right, that's shifting. And is there a certain age range, applicant and gender, that calls you up, they're looking for the jobs?
I'll say from my office experience, we are in the range of 34, 45, 50, even more. And they're looking, some people retire, some people that they don't get that much of a chance for full-time jobs, they go for temps. And that's kind of the range.
And the applicants more male than female, or what?
I think the experience is you kind of even.
Yeah.
In that term.
So if somebody wants to reach you, they can go to your website. What's your website address?
It's atwork.com/Doral. You can go over there. This is our site, and you can see the link for the application in order to see the posting that we have, or to leave your information so we can reach back to you and try to create a profile in our system. Once we get a job that match your profile, we call you and see if you're available. We'll bring you to an interview and maybe to a job opportunity.
Right, but there's lots of great business organizations in Doral. My favorite is the Doral Chamber of Commerce. There's Manny Sarmiento. There's the Rotaries. There's the Kiwanis. There's stuff over at the city. So I hope you get it. If you're not involved, that you do, because a lot of great people over there.
I just started in December with them. Manny's amazing. He's been very helpful with the office, yes. And he's been very helpful in coaching, also giving tips and so forth to move the business.
He pushes us farther than we wanted to go. So okay, great.
And he's very active in social media. I've seen every day posting things and making comments.
And so for the people out in Doral, they can call you, they can email you, they can go to your website, or if they forget who you are, they can go to Manny Sarmiento and say, who's that guy over there at AtWork?
Yes, they can contact the chamber and they can give them the information of my office, but we're all over. They can check atwork.com, atwork.com/Doral. They'll get to our office. We're located in 2408 Northwest 87th Place in Doral, 33172. I think. Yes. And they can reach us there. The office is open Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. But we are 24/7.
Okay.
Obviously, they can leave us a note and we'll get back to them 24/7.
Nelson Bonó, thank you very much for being here.
I really appreciate
it. Well done, sir.
Thank you very much.
Right over the camera and say, folks, remember, have a great day and take care of yourselves and your family. Bye now.